Welcome back. This is Fantasticpains and how we hide them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
For more fun times.
And shenanigans.
Yes. And we're in a silly mood. It's been chaos here before you got here, so buckle up, friends. If this is your very first time joining us, this is our sibling duo podcast / YouTube channel about life with chronic and invisible conditions.
Mm-hmm. We talk about everything.
Yes.
Anything chronic, except for, the other kind of chronic. We talk about.
Yep.
So all chronic conditions.
Yeah.
And even mental and what's another good word I'm thinking of that I can't remember?
Mental, social, emotional.
Thank you. Those were the three I wanted.
There you go. All right.
But everything.
Mm-hmm.
And where can we be found?
We can be found in a variety of places. You can find us on YouTube if you want to watch the chaos. And again, we are siblings, so it does get silly here. Mm-hmm. You can listen to us in several locations, which has expanded recently.
Yeah.
So we are on Audible, on Spotify. What are some of the new ones?
Oh, man, I keep forgetting them. I'm going to find out because we tried to shoot yesterday, a little behind the scenes, and it failed because I was in a really bad place. I don't know. It was a weird day.
He had not slept at all.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
But most places podcasts can be found. And we are maybe sort of almost working on Apple.
Yeah,
so...
Apple takes a while to get approved. But we're
knows?
Still within the time limit. So
yeah.
I'll find it. Keep going.
So we'll see how that works out. You can also join us if you would like in our Discord, which is full of amazing human beings who have formed this just phenomenal community. Highly supportive, lots of humor, and interact with us for our lives.
Boomplay. We're on Boomplay. Hi, Boomplay. You're important, and I remembered you.
Yes. Yep.
Anyway.
Where can they find the silly stuff?
TikToks. Just look up Fantasticpains on TikTok. We post our in-betweens and interesting bits on there. Mm-hmm. It's just belligerence.
Yes.
But it's great.
Yeah, it's fun. You can also find us with the shorts on YouTube.
Yeah, but there's not as many, and they're not as interesting because they have to be family friendly.
Yeah, that too. We work hard to be family friendly here, but it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Because this gets kind of real talk as we go. We also have a website, by the way, fantasticpains.com, where you can find all kinds of things. You can find links to the most recent videos. You can find our playlists. You can find our shop, which should be opening up pretty soon. We are working on... I know, I'm sorry. We have our designs up so you can see them. But we will get the examples up. We are also working on our PayPal for those of you who have asked.
Yes.
And I think we might move in the direction of like Venmo, Cash App, Zelle. So let us know what you use and if that is a good idea.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, yeah.
On today's episode, the EDS kids uncover experimentation with diagnoses and not that fun kind of experiment. I mean, the bad kind of experimentation. Don't block us, YouTube, please. We love you.
I know. Our title is a little grabby today, but
the face my therapist made when I said it earlier. What are you talking about today? Experimentation.
What?
But like for diagnosis and like medication.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that doesn't sound good either.
No. So we're going to be talking about kind of the breakdown of how you can move around some variables to either make medications work better, to find out triggers for things, to find out what makes you better, what makes you worse, because all of that information is great for you to know and also really important for your doctors to know.
Yep.
So that's the kind of experimentation we're talking about. We're gonna sorry. I'm like picturing it all in my brain now and it's not going well.
It's gonna be a good episode. Hang on.
Yes. Because the belligerence is high and we actually have energy, which is amazing. But first, it is time for the weekly recap.
Check in.
Indeed.
Almost said check out again.
Check out. He's leaving.
Okay, so
it's just me.
Before we do that, the reason I keep getting it wrong is that I was watching old episodes and then I remember the thought process. There's a second of doubt before I say it because I got it wrong so many times in a row, and I've reinstituted that second of
panic.
Yeah, like so I'm like, check in. Right one. It's terrifying.
It's like the paranoia of what's going to come out of your mouth.
Yeah, what word
like,
is he going to say? Check her out.
Check your records.
Also, we have a special guest off screen who's going to be gone.
Momentarily.
Yeah, but she's here. Say hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Oh, you're funny.
I knew she was going to do it too.
Yeah.
We've been really in sync all day. All day.
It's good.
It's been kind of funny.
Synchronize the brainwaves.
Yes. It's good stuff. We tried to shoot yesterday.
Oh, yeah. So let's start the week the weekly recap with the failed weekend.
There you go.
It was good. Like, it wasn't a bad talk. It was just we did a live, and then we brought the live with us into the recording.
Yep.
And then my brain turned to mush because I had been awake for days.
No brain at that time.
It was frustrating because I had so many things that I was like, really good point, and there it goes. And I was like, can I get it? No, it's gone. And then I'd be back like, you're
like running around with a net trying to catch hold of one thought.
Yeah. Well, and hold it. Like if I got it, it would get away.
It disappears. It was fair.
Oh, dude, I was so frustrated afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, I just need words.
Yeah.
I need English.
So we took a break and then promptly decided that we were going to try again.
Well, we hung out.
We could definitely do better.
Yeah.
But it was really cool getting to hang out with our people on our lives. For those of you who don't know, we try to do a live Friday evenings, Mountain Time. And then we are putting into place a new section for the lives, which will be Saturday morning right before we shoot. So 10:30-ish Mountain time.
So in Edinburgh, that would be, do the math, 4 o'clock. Yeah, it's a 7-hour difference. So if we're live 10 a.m., that would be there 4 p.m.
Yep.
So if that helps you, if you're 8 hours away, then you would be 5.
Yeah. Yep. So we actually had a friend pop in from Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nora, thank you for joining. That was really fun.
Yeah. I love getting to talk to new people because it's something that we really should have thought about beforehand. But I'm glad that we're putting it into place now because now we can talk to our international buddies.
Yeah.
And have a good time. And when you join our lives, you can help us discuss episode topics. You can also put in episode suggestions in our Discord.
Yeah, we have a section for it. Oh, quick note. We're doing the accountability buddy thing.
Yes.
This will be the week where we want to take suggestions on what you'd like. So is there a section up right now, Jen?
No, I will do it tonight.
Okay, so by the time this is up, for sure, we can get all the suggestions and what you expect, what you need, any ideas that you have, and then we'll take out all of it, shake it up real hard, throw it on the floor, make our own thing, and who cares about what you said? No, not kidding. No, I'm just kidding. It's legit. We'll we'll make something good.
Yeah. And if you don't know what that is, we are kind of setting up partners for keeping track of goals that we've made this year.
Yeah.
Because this is the season of growth and challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, actually, we have to thank Faye for her idea.
Yeah, thank you, Faye.
Yeah.
That was it was a no-brainer, too. Like, as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, that would have been, and it would have been so good for this week.
Yeah.
So Faye suggests that we do a before and after workout, like Wednesday blog kind of a thing.
Yes.
Simple, but it would have been so good this week.
Yeah.
Because we struggled.
Oh, it was bad.
Well, like, okay, first you had to figure out that you wanted to exercise.
Yeah.
Well, no, you had to figure out you didn't want to exercise. It's better if she tells the story.
Yes. So it was Thursday.
Yeah.
We hadn't gotten to work out that week because it's just been crazy. Everything has been crazy. POTS has been out of control. Every time I got home from work, I was like, this is it. This is the end. I'm done being a human being. I'm going to go stop existing. And then I doom scroll. And so I'm like doom scrolling and I come upon a guy who's on his like weight loss journey and he's got a trainer and the trainer's like encouraging and in his face and like blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, darn it. I should message him. And then I debated it for a minute, and then I messaged him, and I was just like, "Jim?" ? Because I knew he wasn't feeling well that day.
No, I was having a
Because
really
we'd been
bad day.
messaging beforehand, and neither of us were like great.
Yeah.
But I sent him the message, and he replied and was just like, "I could do gym." I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna get ready then."
Yeah, I was like, I'll get dressed.
Yeah. And so we did. We went to the gym, even though neither of us really wanted to.
No. But I
But
did.
I'm proud of us for going.
I wanted
yes,
to,
right.
but I didn't at the moment.
Right.
I knew I needed to.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't taken my meds that morning, so my my heart rate was out of control.
Yes.
Like it was just, I could feel it thumping just waiting. I was like, oh no.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm potsy as I'll get. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I didn't take my meds and my heart rate was crazy. And
yeah,
I think I did a good job of keeping it in check, like heart rate.
Yeah. You did a really good job, like tracking and then stopping when you actually needed to stop.
Yeah.
Instead of like destructively pushing through, which
Right.
is what we're good at.
The destructive part,
Yeah.
she means. Yeah. We're not great at the self-preservation
Yeah.
stuff. So it was nice that I was able to like slow down.
Yeah.
And I kept my heart rate within like the 160, 170 range.
Right.
So I got like a full 30 minutes of cardio.
Exactly. We still got the full 30 minutes in, which was awesome. So I'm excited to see where we go this week as we kind of move forward with our pacing, because we are trying to be careful pacing as we slide back into being more active and cardio, because I hate cardio and cardio hates me. So
I hate cardio, but my legs love cardio.
Yes, they do. You just will go forever.
They do.
I'm like, I'm gonna die.
They just go. And then I'm like, there's not enough resistance. There's not enough, like, go faster. And I'm sitting here like, no, guys, we need to slow down.
It's
and
the resistance that kills me. I'm like, why? Where did it go? Why?
Yeah, when it drops out from under you, you're like, oh, suddenly now I'm going slow.
Uh-huh. Oh, and then my heart rate was doing dumb stuff.
Oh, it was all over the place.
It was hilarious, because this is exactly what happens, where like my whole body is out of sync with the universe by a couple seconds or something. I don't know. So it took it like 3 full minutes to get my heart rate up to where we're supposed to be. And then it was like, cool, you're there. And it would start to like drop the incline. And every time it did, my heart rate was like, done.
Oh, yeah.
And then it would plummet, and then it would bring it back up.
And it wasn't like
take it
gentle
forever.
plummet.
No,
it was like
just like
160 to 150. Like, boom, boom. Just like, whoa, okay.
Yep.
Weird.
That's just what it do. And then it would continue dropping, and so it would bring it back up. And then it took another full minute to get it back up.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it drops the incline, my heart rate plummets again. And
it was like a tiny like inversion table experiment.
Yeah. It was just funny, because I was like, stop dropping the incline.
Stop it.
Every time you do that, I lose my zone.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah. But we did it.
We did do it.
And I managed. I didn't think I was going to make it past like 5 minutes in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
Push through it.
Well, but like careful push.
Yeah.
So we're still pushing through because we have to, because EDS. And POTS and MCAS and all the other things.
I forgot. I was going to mention that I've lost weight already.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm down 20 pounds from when I started, I guess, in like mid-December. When I was like, don't need soda anymore.
Yeah.
Screw it. So I lost weight on that, and then the exercising has definitely been helping.
Yes.
Like, I can feel the difference in the amount of activity I do per day.
Yeah.
Has definitely gone up.
Yeah.
Like, I've been cooking more and like up and about. It's amazing.
It makes a difference. It's true what they say when they say like movement is medicine.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get to the being able to do the movement part.
Yeah.
And doing that without being totally frustrated with your progress or lack thereof, or with having to be like, okay, I can only do 15 minutes of exercise while I start this out.
That is the frustrating thing, because I like, when I was talking about it yesterday, I used to work myself to the bone when I would work out. It was a punishment for the body, and I made my body hurt. Yeah. I would hit every position on every piece of equipment every day. Yeah. And then I was running for an hour.
Oh my God.
I would start by 30 minutes of running, do the full rotation, and then go back to another 30 minutes of running.
Absolutely not.
Come home, take a hot bath, take a cold bath, and then do whatever else I had to do, because I was managing a hotel at the time.
Yeah. But I mean, like, when you have to push through and you don't know what's wrong with you, and it becomes it's hard. It's hard to be like sympathetic with what the body needs.
Well, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I kept hearing it's atrophy in my head.
They're like, you're not moving enough, and that's why your body hurts.
Because this is before we were really hunting for an answer.
Yeah.
Because this is before Rory was born.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after Rory when things were getting worse physically for me, when I was like, we need an answer for the kids. Like, I need to know what's going on, just in case.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess I'm just atrophying so bad that everything's falling apart. So I'll just exercise super hard. That'll fix everything. It's in great shape for a good couple of months there, but then I moved from that hotel and then lost my great gym. Sad.
But yeah, it's just it's a different experience being able to do what the body needs, because even like we took Saturday off. We're shooting on odd days. Yesterday was Sunday, not Saturday, because I was sick Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday evening, I don't know, I was just at work and I didn't feel well to start with, and then it was just like a really heavy wave of nausea, and I was like, okay, it's time. I'm gonna go throw up now. And I went and I threw up, and then I went home and I continued to throw up for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And then I wasn't sure if I was sick or if it was something else, because I did spike a fever.
Yeah.
And like fever, I say, because it didn't last long at all.
No.
But it did spike Friday evening. But my ears were bright red. So I was like, I'm flushing really hard. So who knows what is what.
Right.
And that's actually kind of what we're talking about today anyway. Yeah. So, but I feel better now. But it was different. It was like I took Sunday off to be like, no, I need some sleep, because I didn't sleep. It was bad. Yeah. And then fever dreams and all of that. But taking Saturday to just relax, and do what the body needed me to do.
Mm-hmm. No, I was proud of you for resting, especially after the week you had.
Yeah,
like it was long.
It was a very long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our week.
Mm-hmm.
Long and crazy.
Yes. And this week should be, and it was Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
So everything was extra crazy. So I'm hoping this coming week will be chiller, and we will be able to get to the gym once, if not twice.
Yeah.
Twice is the goal that we're shooting for, but we're also not punishing ourselves if we don't make it.
Right. There's no like failure of expectations.
Right. It's just like, okay, well, we're not there yet.
Right.
And I think, I don't know, have you guys heard the book, like The Power of Yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah,
being
exactly.
able to give yourself room to grow,
instead
of being like, grow now while I watch. Instantly.
Yeah. Well, and that was part of my problem when I was exercising, is that I wanted really fast results.
Yeah. So you're like, I'll just brutalize everything, because that'll make it faster.
Yeah, it didn't.
No.
I mean, I made great progress, but I wasn't happy with any of it because the pain was getting worse, weirdly.
Yeah. Weirdly.
I don't know what that was about.
Bizarre.
But yeah, that's a good transition point, I think. So first, we need to be like clear.
Yes.
That this is all with like doctor guidance too.
Yeah.
It's not like go out on your own and try these different medications. No, don't. Bring it to your doctor. Have them filter through. Even if they give you the wrong output, which is going to happen a lot. Because it's like you're feeding them your symptoms and what you think is going on, and you don't even know the full picture because you don't know what.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's a hassle.
Yeah.
But at least have a doctor on board, please.
Right.
We're not morticians. If you die, we can't make you look good.
You will just have to figure that out for yourself.
We might speak at your funeral though. You can hire us. Just contact us through the
Show up
ghost
and be
phone.
like, we told you that we were not morticians, and then we'll leave.
Well, I'll have a laugh about it. Everyone will giggle, and then we can move on. Or be very sad.
Yes. Mostly that. But yes, so we're going through this as in, like, how do you identify triggers or even progress or changes with a new medication, or the best time of day to take that medication, or what dose works for that medication? How are you tracking those like changes,
right,
and your variables, and are you moving around more than one thing and expecting one thing to happen? And there's a lot of like pigeon superstition involved there too. And by that, I mean, just like, we're like, this happened randomly when this occurred, must be connected.
Right.
And they're not at all connected.
Right.
So
let's go over some examples of what not to do first.
Okay.
Because I think I've made all the mistakes during the journey and then learning. So in the beginning, there was nothing wrong with me. I was perfectly fine. Literally, when I saw the doctor the first time, I was like, no, I think I'm okay. You know, I can't really raise my arm all the way, but that's
normal. Everybody has that.
Yeah. Everybody can't raise their right arm above here.
I can brush my hair. If I do it upside down.
If someone does it for me.
Yes.
So I was also worried about like dumping too much on them in the beginning.
Right.
Because I mean, you can go either.
You go in and you're like, I'm concerned about a lot, but I don't know what they will be willing to help me with.
So it depends on the situation, but just know that you can't not tell them.
Yeah.
The only way you're gonna get answers is if you start divulging. You have to be open to sharing.
Well, and that comes with its own problem.
Yeah.
Where half the time you don't know what you're experiencing is a symptom.
Oh, I was gonna get into that for sure.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Sure, because I didn't know that half of the things. I mean, I'm still going through this. You were talking about the hernia, and I've always had this thing. It feels like a heart attack happened to me all the time.
Oh yeah. And this is like something that I'm learning now.
Yeah.
That I've been chasing for several years. This was happening when they thought it was panic attacks, when they thought it was seizures, when they thought, I think the seizure part was with more spasming, but when they thought it was migraines for some reason, when they thought it was just GERD, when they thought blah, 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 blah. Like when they thought it was a heart problem.
Yeah.
Because I learned that hiatal hernias, you can have like hiatal hernia attacks.
Yeah.
In which it can look and feel so much like a heart attack, it can fool physicians.
Yeah.
So I was like, weird. Because I've always described it
my entire life.
Right. And I've always described it as it feels like a heart attack and a stroke at the same time. And now we're learning that these symptoms might be connected to something completely different.
I presented them with I have these chest pains.
Yeah.
They checked heart. Didn't find anything. You're fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to know what that was.
Nope.
But I mean, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But it's what we're saying. Like, we didn't know that was a symptom of a hernia, right?
Yeah.
There was like, how is anyone going to common knowledge that? Or even when you're searching it up, it took you so long to find that.
Yes.
Putting in different terms and different, you know what I mean? Different ways of phrasing.
And chasing different like
links
and avenues. And like I'll have several tabs open looking at different things and pulling different information to like try to form
it's conspiracy theory.
A little bit.
If your medical room, if you don't have a medical room, first off, you need to get a medical room. Clear out a room in your house.
Dark.
It better be your bedroom, and I don't want a bed in it. You're gonna sleep on the couch now. You're crazy, remember? No one believes you. After you've cleared out your room, I want you to put up all sorts of diagnoses. I want you to put lupus right in the middle, up high, and then a big cross right through it. No, it's not. It's never lupus. There's your starting point. Now, don't do what I said, and actually maybe just start charting your symptoms.
Yes. Well, and it's hard too when you have something like Ehlers-Danlos, which comes with all of these different like underlying things and comorbidities. And with the comorbidities, you don't know which symptoms belong to which comorbidity.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And that makes it so difficult to treat symptoms because they're trying to treat one thing.
Right. They're treating it as a single.
Right. Well, and your symptoms are connected to something else entirely.
Exactly.
So it's complicated. So sometimes you have to be the one to do the experimentation and find out what is what. And that takes a lot of variation.
Right.
But in the right way. Like, we're talking scientific method here.
Exactly. You work from the problem, target a problem, not all of them, because you can't You can't do the thing where I did every variable at once. There was a time when we were like changing my medication every other month.
Yes.
Like we would change 4 at a time, and then I'd have one reaction, and I had no idea what it was.
Don't know what it is. Yeah.
And even if I'd like would skip a day,
Mm-hmm.
the symptoms were still constant. So like if I skipped a day with one med, and because there wasn't enough time for my body to process everything,
Right.
so in order to do it that way, it would have been just chaos.
Yes. Well, and now you've learned that it's like one variable at a time.
Absolutely.
For a certain amount of time, unless it's awful.
Oh, yes.
And you know right away it's awful.
And an example of that is I used to be on, I've tried every kind of pain medication that they have for the most part. Anything you can get through insurance. And keep this in mind, these are all suggestions that you have to go through in order from Medicaid.
Yes. Well, because it's everything is super procedural here in the United States. If you can get the help you need at all.
Right.
And so they're like, well, try this first.
So
try this next.
Right, exactly. But it would be like you have to fail most of the ones in this tier.
Yes. And
then fail most of the ones to get up to the next tier.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I've tried all.
Mm-hmm.
I've done everything. The only thing I haven't done are topical gels. I've done like patches.
Yeah.
But not like anything that's
like a gel.
Yeah, like
Weird.
I've tried Voltaren gel, which is like an anti-swelling kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Didn't help at all, but
no.
I have a bunch of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird. I didn't know that was a thing.
But yeah, like I would try out a medication, and it started small, so it would be like nausea.
Yeah.
And then after the month, I'd be like, I need to try something else because I'm nauseous.
Yeah.
I didn't give it enough time, one, because your body can adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I had to do it on their schedule. So like,
yes,
I went from like Vicodin to there's hydromorphone. There's all the like name brand ones too. I can't even remember.
And they're all the like hydros.
Yeah, there's the family of hydros.
Yeah.
And there's like the tramadols, the synthetics.
Tramadol is the worst. Sorry.
Then I like morphine, Dilaudid.
Dilaudid is intense.
Butrans. And again, then we got into extended releases, and then we got into fentanyl was the last thing I tried before we went back. And I had to go to the ER when I tried one fentanyl patch. I put it on like directed, like washed the area, set it up, left it alone.
Body no likey.
No, I broke out. I started swelling everywhere.
Oh.
I was bright red. I was confused. Like I started losing where I was and was like,
that's not good at all.
No, I was in the tub trying to cool down.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I in a cold tub? What is this? And then I came back for a second. I was like, oh, I need to get Jen. This is not good.
Wake up, go. Someone stole my kidney.
Yeah, Jen.
Clearly.
I've been robbed. All my organs.
All my organs.
They were all in the tub and I didn't like it. Yeah.
Gross.
But that's one of those ones where you have to stop it early.
Yes.
Like I did one patch, had to go, and I turned them in like.
Yeah. You're like, I don't want these.
I was like,
you take them.
Well, that was the thing. I was going back to Percocet.
Yes.
The 5 milligram Percocets, and the lady there was like, no, you can't. You have fentanyl patches. Like, no, here are the fentanyl patches. I don't want this.
Yeah.
This almost killed me. And she was like, oh, let me call your provider. And
yeah.
So she called the provider, and
good.
They worked it out.
But
oh my God.
Because it gets complicated when you're like, nope, this is not going to work.
Mm-mm.
And I'm frustrated because I'm supposed to be changing pain medication, and they pushed
really good.
me back a month, and that's
the point, is that we're going to be testing out anything on you.
Yes.
Which is interesting because she loses her normal emergency meds.
Yep. And we'll be going to low dose naltrexone, which I don't know. I actually heard from, I don't know if this is like a common thread anywhere.
Yeah.
But my buddy from the pain group, this is tangent, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Said that she, like, it was a godsend. It worked amazing. It was great. And then messaged me a little while ago and was like, I stopped gabapentin, and now the low dose naltrexone doesn't do anything.
Really?
So that's fascinating.
Huh.
So I'm like, I wonder how it pairs with things too.
Yeah.
Because that's something that we can't really test so much as we can like observe.
No, because I mean, the only way to do that is to do what allergists have you do, which is stop everything, start one at a time for months.
And I don't like that as much as I like dropping things off for a while and seeing what happens.
Right. Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So like, okay, so the process there would be like, I've had stints with like things that I have short term, so I know how I react to those. So like prednisone is another one I react badly to, but I found out because I had a 3-day supply of prednisone for some joint pain thing. I just remember it was for joint pain, and then I was like, everything else hurts, and I'm not doing well.
Yeah. Well, it's like it increases inflammation everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not good stuff. No, at least not for us. We don't.
The way we react.
Our bodies do not appreciate prednisone.
No.
But
not even a little bit. So like I have experience with the like, and even when I went to pain meds, I had like tried with like dental work. I had like Vicodin, and I knew it kind of helped, but not really.
Yeah.
And then so we worked up from there. But the thing that I was not doing that I wish we had done is giving them more time for my body to adjust.
Right.
Like,
well, and
6 weeks would have been a good like what you have to do for the low dose naltrexone, because I was super nauseous on most things I started, but I never had enough time to adjust.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because I feel like any kind of data collection requires a good 6 weeks, unless there is something where you're like, this is obviously making absolutely no difference, and it's detrimental. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting too, because especially with pain medication, you and I are gun shy of giving things time, because in our experience, things will work for a very short amount of time and then stop
completely.
And then it doesn't do anything anymore. And so we tend to do like these medication fasts so that we have some time for the body to like come off of it before we go back on, so that it actually works, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I think with pain medication, it would have been, it required a different kind of self-awareness than what we had at the time.
Oh, dude, at the time especially, because I had no experience.
Yeah.
And that was what we started with. Like, because her goal was to get the pain under control and then work on figuring out the source.
Yeah.
And it just took so long to get the pain under control. And so many failures. Yeah. And then ended up on Xtampza, and that really messed me up, and I hated it.
Yeah. You don't do well with extended release as a whole.
No.
Just
the Concerta doesn't affect me as bad.
That's good.
It's an ER. Yeah. But it's still good. It helps me. I mean, I'm still here, so.
And you and I are so different too, because, and this is where I have trouble with data collection as a whole, is I don't have, or B, don't notice side effects.
Right.
Because I'm so good at, and if you haven't seen last week's episode, where we talk about our adaptability, this is really where the downfall is where I am so good at creating a new baseline every time something messes up that I kind of wipe out the data that's there.
Well, that's the problem, is that you have so many problems that you're just adding one to the fire.
Right. And I'm like, that's not bad enough to like be super concerned about. So, oh well.
Yeah, if you're not in the ER, then it's not worth pursuing.
If I can function, it's fine.
You got to get down the list of things till you get to that. And then try and piece it together. Yeah. It's such a pain. But when I started like taking it seriously, after all of the pain med fails, is when I started like notating everything. We were trying new med. I would write down my blood pressure, temperatures. 3 times a day I was taking stats for everything. And then I would record, bring it in, show her. We would talk. We would do like see a new specialist for the month. Yeah. You know how it is. Like it takes forever to get in. But that was the cycle. You know, while waiting for specialist, let's try this thing. That didn't work. Let's try this. That was really bad. Let's try this. That one seemed to help, you know, but it took a long time, and you gotta be patient. Yeah. It's so hard, especially when it's like you're having negative side effects. Right. It's such a pain. I was so dumb in the beginning. I thought that was just how you felt. So like I was on the extended relief something.
Yeah.
And I was just dying. I was throwing up all the time.
I remember that too, because
Yeah.
you were throwing up like the instant release ones,
Mm-hmm.
just randomly and puking everything and then not eating.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I will just throw it all up.
Right. It was
not a good time.
And I thought that was normal. I was like, I guess that's just what people deal with when they take meds. I didn't know.
Well, it's hard too if you don't know what your options are.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is that there are so many different things that you can try.
Yeah.
And so many people quit at the first failure. And they're like, well, that didn't work, or I guess this is how this works from now on.
Yeah.
I will just live like this. And people don't go back and go, I didn't really like that. Can we try something else?
Right. Well, I think
there's a lot of something else. So don't give up.
When you get a new med, this is something I do now, but I didn't think to mention this yesterday, which I'm glad we did it. Look up the common, uncommon, and rare side effects. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Kind of acquaint yourself with them so that you know that they can happen, so that you can be like, oh, maybe the new med is the reason that I'm getting this new symptom.
Right.
Don't panic. Don't freak out. If you feel like, I know when I was first starting out, I was like, oh no. Like, I was feeling different ways and like, I don't know if this is normal. Yeah. But then if it was painful, I was like, no, this is normal. You know what I mean? Like I had it both ways. I was like, yeah. Oh no, I'm like tingling in my arm. Am I dying? Is this it? Like, no, you're fine. But then I was like, oh God, I'm vomiting. Cool. I love this.
This is totally normal.
But I mean,
those things had been normal pre-medication.
Yes.
Is the other part. And that's really hard because people are like, oh, maybe this is a side effect. And you're like, or maybe it's just that thing that's been happening since teenhood.
Right. So like acquaint yourself with what can happen.
Yeah.
And then note that you have certain ones. Like I found out that for most of my reactions common, I don't get the common reactions.
Right.
I'm either intermediate or severe.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Can I please just take the meds, body, please?
Right.
Life would be so much simpler.
Just bleh.
Bleh. Yeah. Watch that TikTok. That's a good one. But yeah, I just don't want people to panic too, because they look at the list and like, oh, look at all these things that could happen.
Right.
They can happen. They don't have to happen.
This is the thing, and I think we mentioned this yesterday, but I think it's important to put this out there, is that a lot of the time, and what did I compare it to? I think I compared it to like sex ed, where they're like, oh, if we tell children about sex, then they will have sex.
Yes.
Whereas our doctors are like, oh, if we tell them about their condition or their medication or their blah, 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 they treat it like information is going to send people into a hysterical state of panic. Yeah. Right. And that is true for some people where they're highly sensitive to that information and the panic builds and the anxiety is there.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we were introduced more and more educated on what goes on with us and within our own system, right? Like our whole body system, because there's so many things going on all at once. And for you and me, like that education piece is so important.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I know what it is, I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
I can just be like, I don't feel good, but it's that thing.
Right. It changed it so drastically between, like, it's the same, like, horrible feeling. There's a malaise that comes with EDS that everyone, I'm sure, can relate to.
Yeah.
Or any chronic illness. There's always that, there's like
you just don't feel good.
A miasma of, ugh.
Yeah.
And before I knew what it was, those days were unbearable. Yeah. Like, I was like, this is forever. I don't know what's going on. And then it would just spiral for days.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I don't feel good. Okay. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I genuinely just can move on.
Right. You recognize it and you're like, I don't like this, but you know what? All right. This is how today is.
I let it pass through me and then move on.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, for us, that like identification is so vital. And I think probably for other people, and maybe they don't even recognize it for themselves, that understanding what's happening with you can take the fear and anxiety away.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. And this is what was so funny when I was talking to my pain psych, and she was like, she was baffled by the idea that like, no, as long as I know what it is, it's fine.
Right.
It's really fine. So for me, like discovering all of these symptoms under hiatal hernia attacks and knowing I have a hiatal hernia and have had for a long time.
Yeah.
That takes the fear away. I mean, I had to work past the fear because every time it felt like a heart attack, right?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Pain in your arm, tingling in your arm. Sometimes the arm would disappear.
Yeah.
Like your brain just stops recognizing it entirely. And then pain in my jaw. And that's when I would really start to get freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it would feel like electricity in my teeth and like really concerning symptoms that were terrifying. And then everyone kept telling me I was fine. And I was like, but this doesn't feel fine.
Right. No. It legit feels like a heart attack. I went in. I'm now pretty confident that when I went in and they held me for my heart and we did the angiogram, it was probably just a really bad hernia.
Yeah.
Because it started off like what felt like a heart attack.
Yep.
And then they were just genuinely concerned. They're like, we're gonna hold you. We need to run a test.
Yeah.
Nothing came out. Like.
Right. They're like, everything's fine. And then it settles itself like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like 5 minutes or it could be like 5 hours.
Right. I've had the like hours long ones. Not fun.
Those are the ones where I had to like sneak out of bed to not wake my husband up and then go be in agony in the bathroom or the kitchen or the living room.
Done that.
And just pace the house and be like, maybe I'm going to die and no one's awake. So no one will know if I die.
Yeah.
But knowing that those symptoms don't automatically mean something horrible is empowering.
Yeah.
You can be like, yes, they are heart attack like symptoms, but I know what I can attribute them to, and I'm probably pretty safe to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had to work through it by myself because everyone was like, they're panic attacks. And I was like, but I can ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to start like talking myself through it and go, okay, we got to pull out of the this is forever brain and go, this happens a lot. Have I died any other time?
That's a skill that I've had since I was a kid because of that same thing. Because there were days that I thought I was having legit heart attacks, and I was like, no, this has happened before.
Yeah,
I was okay.
We're like, nope, this is just a thing that the body does, and we've made it through it every time. So we're just gonna have to make it through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna suck, but it'll be okay.
Right. We got on a tangent, but stat tracking important. Yeah. Like pain journaling, and it's more important for, I think, your sense of control, which is important, right? Mm-hmm. To know that you're doing something proactive to help yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you don't feel worthless, because a lot of people get that, like, I'm just the worst.
Yeah.
At least, this way you can be like, look, I'm doing the things. I did my homework.
Yeah.
And then you can bring it to your physician, and then they can look at it and give you the wrong diagnosis, and then you can do the next month of tracking and then send the new stats and be like, oh, it isn't that diagnosis. It's probably this other one.
Yeah.
And then you're going to watch a YouTube video that's going to explain everything. And you'll go, I think it's this. And then you present it to them and they're going to go, wait 2 years. You wait the 2 years. You're going to see a douchebag. Ignore him. Your sister's awesome. So.
I'm now your sister.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
It's too late.
Yay, confetti. Yeah.
But you know what we're talking about with like, take some power back for you, because your symptoms don't have to overrun you.
Right.
You can have the power of being like, okay, so this is a new symptom, and this is kind of how I go about it, because I don't take things to them unless I'm sure something is there, because I hate going in and having them be like, I don't know what that is, you're fine, and I'm like, but look, and they're like, no. I'm like, okay, fine, I will go do my own research. So I very rarely take things to them preemptively, but I will do my research. Then if I'm like 90% sure I have an idea of what's happening, then we take it to them, and then they order the tests, and then sometimes we get a good answer and sometimes we don't.
Well, and we differ so variously. Like, I was really about the like writing it down. Yeah. I think I was into it too, just because it was like, look, you're not dying, dude. Look. Yeah. Like, it was proof, and it was neat. I got to do, I didn't feel like I was crazy.
Right.
I had a job to do, and I was doing my job. Yeah. We were working and being proactive. Rah. But you do things based more on memory. Like, you'll be like, you'll address it in the moment, like dire, not dire, not dire. Okay. And then if it's continuous, then you take note that it's still happening. And then, you have like little check marks until.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's pretty much how it goes. And then that whole time, if it is still something that's bothering me and I still don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure I don't have enough information to get a good answer, that's when I'm like, alter the YouTube, or not the YouTube search.
Alter the YouTube.
The Google search. We're like going through different things. And it's a lot of putting pieces from different places together to form a whole picture where like they're all talking about the same thing, but they're all missing each other.
Yes.
Which is frustrating and annoying.
It's the same as any research project that when you're trying to find, like, okay, I watched a documentary last night about trying to find out the guy who invented the theme song to Disney Channel's theme, the four notes, the dun 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 or dun 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 dun, the like little what are they called? No, not that. Because they know who did that. What? That's famous. The Disney Channel specifically. The,
Disney Channel.
When they do the Mickey ears.
Yeah.
The dun 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 dun, that one.
Okay.
Nobody knew. And the dude it was just great watching him go from, it's this person, this person's dead. Maybe this person knows. And it's literally, it's a research project.
Yes.
You have to be proactive and
well, and you have to be flexible and able to be like, okay, well, that turned up nada. We got to change the search terms.
Or and we got to a different thing at the time.
Right.
Like sometimes you will hit just dead ends.
Yes.
Dead ends that are dead ends.
Right. And you leave it alone. Like the hiatal hernia, I was sure I had one more than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, doubtful, but okay. And so they did a scan, but they did it standing.
Yeah.
Which is not good if you have a sliding hiatal hernia. And they were like, nope, you don't have anything. So I left it alone for a very long time. And then more than 2 years later, they come back with, guess what? You have a hiatal hernia. And I was like, I told you that.
Told you.
Darn it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dead end after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, some things you like drop and then you pick up later, or you drop entirely because weird, that symptom disappeared.
Yeah, but then, you'll find something like later down the line that explains that symptom. And then you're like,
or explains why it went away.
Right, exactly. Like, move that over here.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, it really is.
Shuffling things
It makes me think of like magnets on a fridge where you're trying to like organize them under different categories. And then you're like, okay, categorizing by like root word doesn't work. We're going to categorize by ending sounds. And then, that's how that feels.
Yes.
What were you puzzling out for yourself?
Oh, I was just thinking ahead. Like, I want to get into more specifics for the second half.
Yes, for sure.
Like, where do we look? How do we look? I look pretty good. Sorry, I'm just full of myself today because I looked in the mirror and I wasn't huge.
He's
I was
very pleased with
mostly huge. Not fully huge. I'm getting there.
You're getting there?
I'm getting there.
You're going the other way, dear.
Yeah, I know. I'm going down.
You turn.
You're going wrong, Chris. You ate too much. Stop it. You ate everything. Please, stop. Wait, what? Chris.
You ate the children.
Oh.
Huh. I wondered where they went.
It's been quiet.
Anyway, that's probably a good sign that it's time for break. Yeah,
it's break time.
All right. Hopefully you know what to do. If you don't, and this is your first time, here you go. It is time for you to take a break.
Yes.
If you can.
It doesn't have to be huge.
Yeah.
But from whatever you're doing, if you're doing chores, if you're exercising, just take a break.
Yep.
A little break. That's all you need.
Catch your breath.
And
watch a couple TikToks.
Some
drink
water.
A coffee.
Oh yeah, coffee. If you're allowed caffeine, I'm really not supposed to.
We're not supposed to, but
we don't drink coffee.
Hello, I am bad.
For the audio listeners, we're downing Starbucks.
Always.
Yep.
My incentive for living on planet Earth. On that note, find yourself a snack because you are a snack and you deserve it. And
also, do a self-care.
Yes.
Do something nice for yourself also.
Fuzzy socks. Go see some sunlight. Pet a dog or a cat.
Get a cuddle. Yeah. Also, do something nice for you. Like, say something or do something nice for yourself. Yes. If you don't feel like it, just say it anyways. It's good.
Get some good self-talk going.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can be facetious. You can be like, yeah, I'm so great. It still counts. You said it.
It does
so
count. There you go.
And then we'll be back with how to. And then also we have to hit motivation. Like, how do you get yourself motivated to take the second step? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go do what you need to do. We're going to go do what we need to do. And we'll be back in a moment.
Bye.
Hey guys, did you know that Fantasticpains now has a website? On our website, you can find our shop where we will be opening up for custom t-shirts and orders there. You can also find access to our PayPal, winky wink. You can buy us a coffee anytime. We would love that. You can also see some of our blog articles, access to recent episodes and our TikTok, and get in contact with us.
You can also find a link to our Discord, which is getting updated pretty soon to include new channels and some games. We would also like to thank our producer for setting up the website. Thank you for supporting us and enjoy the rest of the show.
Indeed. Thank you.
Welcome back. How was your break?
Did you do the things?
Why not? Don't lie.
You should have done the things.
But we're not mad. I mean, you do you. We just kind of was hoping you would do it.
We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
I'm not. You know what? That's her. She said it. I am not on the disappointment train. I am let down, though. You know? I had high hopes. Dang it.
He's a monster.
Just hurts.
It just hurts.
Anyways.
So moving forward, you wanted to get into kind of the more how-to aspect of tracking your data.
Yeah.
Creating a plan to move around one singular variable at a time.
Yep.
Because that is important, because otherwise you're not sure what you're looking at when things change. And then kind of how do you motivate yourself within that next step? How do you motivate yourself to actually take that symptom seriously and to kind of do those things that you know you should?
Yeah.
Because, hi, I'm Karina, and I have a hiatal hernia, and I should quit smoking and stop drinking caffeine. But
hi, I'm Chris. I stopped drinking soda, but I still drink Starbucks. So, like,
caffeine.
You know, I'm still a monster.
Yeah. As long as you're not drinking Monster.
No. My heart would explode.
Gives me, like, pseudo seizures.
Yeah. No joke.
It's
like,
bad.
Energy drinks and me do not go well.
No. Not at all.
I used to pound them, like, for game night.
Ooh, no.
Because imagine, like, you're at the end of the day where you're already worn out.
Yeah.
And you've, like, built up all your spoons to go somewhere really far away. And then you get there, and then you're dealing with, like, 7 people all at the same time talking over each other for hours.
No.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I miss those guys.
So let's get into the how-to, because you have more experience in this than I do, for sure, because I am more apathetic.
I was apathetic till I had kids. I mean, that's really, it's like I have a cheat code.
Yeah.
But I really do care about the kids, and I wanted them to have answers in case they had problems.
Right.
And, like, having a sense of self-worth didn't come for a long time.
Right.
You know, like,
after.
Yeah. But I mean, I did do it. I don't know how in retrospect. Yeah. Other than I was just dedicated to getting it done. Like, I needed some answers. Mental health. That was one.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. Because I needed to know, because that was, if I was undiagnosed, I was still crazy.
Right.
Or weak, and, you know, all the horrible things you tell yourself.
Yeah.
So for me to improve mentally, I had to do that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get better. Like, I had that scary moment where I was like, it's this or I'm going to be dead. Yes. And I don't want that. Right. I mean, it's that weird suicidality, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that, though.
But yeah, it was do it.
Yeah.
Do it or you won't. Ever. Recently, though, because I've been dragging my feet too, like you said, with your hernia, like, yeah, I still have my knees to get looked at, and I've kind of put them on the back burner because they don't hurt so bad at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I still have to get that nerve study done on my legs because I can't feel my foot. Yeah. And the other foot's going numb. So something's going on somewhere.
I have set up my MRI for my feet again.
Yeah.
I just have to call a number that I lost.
Oh, that's
so I've got to call the main number and figure out how to get it scheduled. And then, because they were like, we'll only do the right one. And I was like, but how about both? And they were like, we'll call and find out if we can do both. And I was like, both.
Yeah.
And now both.
Oh, that's good.
So I did part of it.
God, I want to have like a really concise answer to be like, do you just do this 3-step program?
Right.
But I have horrible social anxiety when it comes to phones.
Yes.
Because I can't see the person.
Yes.
And I need to see you to know what's going through your head.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. That's super important to me.
It's a safety thing because
yeah.
our ability to read those like micro expressions is born of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Is born of survival. Is born of trauma. And so not being able to see faces and be able to like watch for micro expressions is difficult. For me, it's the executive dysfunction. Where I'm like,
yeah.
I only think about calling at 5 p.m. when they're closed.
that is definitely part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, well, and your life is crazy anyways. So having time between open hours, that's rare. And
right.
to use that time for something that you're not deeming an emergency.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, it's really hard.
Yes.
I had a point I was going to say, because I've been recently more engaged, but it is, I think a lot of it has to do with the seasons of challenge. Like, since we're doing a season of growth and challenges.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get something done this year.
Yes. Yes. I want them to look at my left foot specifically because I can't do it anymore.
No, it's bad.
Like, walking around is just agony by the end of the day.
You've had so many people work on it, and it just, you can get an improvement for a time.
But not long.
No, and
not long enough.
That's not acceptable.
Right. I'm like, I have to be able to walk.
Yeah.
Because then what are my options? I use crutches and then I throw everything else out. Or I use my cane and I throw my arm and my other leg out because we're compensating one way or the other. And then that one hurts and then they both hurt. And then how do you, there's no like.
Connective tissue disorder side break. What's the deal with mobility aids that destroy our bodies?
Yes.
I hate that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to use the mobility aid that they tell me to use so that I'm able to move. But if I do that, there go my shoulders and my wrists and my elbows and my right leg.
Well, it's all about, like, it's the same compensation thing. Like, something else is going to hurt if I do the appropriate steps. So I have the option of, like, we can just suck it up and deal, which is what I've been choosing recently. Or we can appear to, because again, with that like adaptability piece and things being changing and people being like, well, you're on crutches today, but you're not.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? You were on a cane yesterday, but now you're walking just fine, or blah, blah, blah. Because I don't limp anymore.
Right.
Because there's no point and it hurts the other leg.
Yeah.
Or the other foot or something else. It'll throw out my lower back.
No, I get it.
There's no good answer. And that's why no one believes us, is because they're like, oh, you don't seem to be in enough pain for that to be the case.
Yeah.
Like, aha.
Maybe that's a challenge we tackle. Like, because I'm in my head about it too. And I'm not worried. I'm not like legitimately concerned strangers are going to look at me weird. Like, that doesn't bother me. I just worry that someone I know is going to interpret it in a way that makes them worry unnecessarily, or in a way that they can be then like, well, you know.
Right. Because it like, you have the line between like, this seems dire.
Yeah.
And like, oh, it's just them. That's just how they be.
Right. So the challenge would be then to use mobility aids without thinking.
Right. Well, but again, like the pain payment.
Yeah. No, it's there.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just, it struck me and I was upset about it. Because I was using a cane today and I slipped and I almost hurt myself, but thank God I had a cane.
Good.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Use your mobility aids, even though your brain wants you not to.
Right. Well, and for me, it's not like, there's no like shame to it anymore, which is good. But
that is a piece for people in general.
Yeah. And it just turns into, you know how you're like, I could do this, but that sounds like a lot of extra steps.
Yes.
That's how I feel about it. Where I'm like, I could do the thing, but that's a lot of extra steps.
Well, that applies to starting your motivation too, though.
Yes.
Is that's what happens a lot of the times. I'm like, I could start making 1,000 phone calls to get the one appointment. But that is a lot of steps, and it's not dire.
Right.
So you really have to motivate yourself by some personal means.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some reason you can think of that is worth pushing towards.
And it has to be relevant to you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You can't use other people's reasoning of like, oh, well, but don't you want to be able to blah, 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 blah? Because you're like, I could live it. Like, I leave it or take it. Doesn't matter to me, bud.
Or, I mean, you could also be worried and concerned about having to do surgeries or stuff.
Yeah.
So people put it off.
Right.
Like, you know, surgery for us isn't a big deal.
Yes.
But we've had so many. And, like, they're not super invasive, the types that we've done.
Right.
I mean, I had one, but even then, I would still redo it in a heartbeat. Right. Because we just don't have that, like, fear of it. Yeah. But there are people that are, like, deadly afraid of that kind of stuff, which I get. It's perfectly understandable.
Well, because it feels and seems so dire. Yeah. Before you're like acquainted with it. Yeah. And then once you're acquainted with it, you're like, oh, so that's what that was. I'm okay with this now.
And you meet nice old couples in the recovery room who love Grand Lake, and then you talk about it with them, and they turn all happy. And it was a great day. I got to beat her out of the hospital. I didn't hit her on the way out of the hospital. I got out of my recovery faster than she got out of hers because I went to the bathroom and she was like, I'm not going to do it. And her husband was like, you got to do it. I just want to go home. And she was like, nope, I don't have to.
I just lied about it. So
and then you have her
who do that.
Lies to the docs about her recovery after having horrible pain.
Really wanted to go home.
That could have been connected to your bladder.
I really wanted to go home.
I know. I'm not.
No, that
shaming.
was a different surgery.
Was it?
Oh no, it wasn't, because it was spinal.
It was the
you're
same
right.
one.
It was the same surgery. I was
making healthy decisions while high.
I really wanted to go home. That's my problem. Once I hit recovery, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Yeah. Get me out of here.
No, I do it too. I'm not going to shame you.
Because I always feel like I can't relax until I'm somewhere that I'm familiar with. Yeah. Because I'm like, nope, this is not a safe place to like chill out. This is like, I want to leave now. Thank you. Yeah. And then they're like, you are really irritating. We're going to let you leave. But Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Don't be mean.
But find a personal reason.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this is one of the coping techniques that Livia was going over with me today. Yeah. Listing things out, right? So make a list of reasons for and against. Yes. And then you can eliminate the trivial ones. And then weigh them against the pros, and then find one in the pros that you resonate with, like one that matters to you or that you could make matter to you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, like even if you're doing it because your family would appreciate you being healthier, that's still a reason. I mean, if you care about your family. Right. I'm not saying you have to, but if you do, like my kids are my motivation. Yeah.
Well, and the possibility of kids are my motivation currently. So.
Which is good enough.
Right.
I mean, you were doing surgeries before, though.
Oh, yeah. The surgeries were just like, make it suck less now, please.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Which is a good enough reason.
That, for me, is a good enough reason.
It would be for a lot of people. Yes. You know? Yeah. It's so hard to get going. And it's like with anything, starting up when doing nothing is an option. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Especially because I feel like, and I know other people with EDS who are like this as well, where we are just like, I could treat it, or I could just be like, meh. Yeah. And meh is a perfectly okay solution. Because my husband will be like, have you tried blah, blah, blah? I'm like, no. He's like, but you're miserable. And I'm like, yeah.
Jen does it all the time to me, too.
But you could try a thing. And I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, Jen will come home, like, from work, and I'll be in bed, like, curled up in pain. She's like, oh, did you do the thing? And I was like, no, why not? I didn't care enough. Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't. Sorry.
That's the truth of it. Like when you're like, this is my reality, it's fine. Why bother with this one over the other ones? Like, what is the difference? But it's different when you start to regain that sense of self-worth. And working through those like unhealthy coping skills and unhealthy modes of thinking to get to a point where you're like, no, like I could have a life if I take control. Yeah. But that's the thing, you've got to take control. Yeah. Because no one else can be responsible for your life and your quality of life but you.
Exactly. You have to be like, there are times that I would not have opted in for things because I didn't feel like I was worth enough. Yeah. You have to be in the proper headspace. Yes. You know, or be forced. I don't know how anyone could force you. I mean, you have so much paperwork to sign. At any point, you could write "help me" and then instead of your name.
And then they wouldn't catch it, and then there'd be a huge lawsuit.
Oh, you got him. Now
Whoops.
You're on lucky street where no one's going to do surgery on you because you sued the last hospital. Way to go, champ. At least you got money.
It's also a 7-year lawsuit, so you're going to have to wait for all that money.
Oh, man, and you're going to
and
have lots of money to get going.
only going to cover your legal fees.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. Sorry, that was not super motivational.
How about we don't try and defraud the system?
Don't help me on things. Just don't.
Unless you're being like held
forced.
up or like, yeah, like
That
me,
would be
there
a
are
different
situations you could really help me,
situation, but but really it's a matter of like, and I think breaking it down makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
If you can break down what you are trying to accomplish into smaller bite-sized chunks, then it doesn't feel so overwhelming. So for me, quitting smoking, sorry, I'm hearing a buzzing in my brain and it's not anything real.
I was hearing one earlier.
Weird. Now it's in my head. Thanks.
I'm free.
Thanks for that.
I'm
Cool.
free.
Awesome.
Yes.
Now I have just this
Yes.
in my brain. Cool. I thought it was my phone, so I just kept checking.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, what's vibrating? It's me.
It's bite-sized chunks.
Yes. Bite-sized chunks. So for quitting smoking, as an example, instead of trying to like go cold turkey or use gums and patches again because they don't work for me. It's not how my brain works.
Right.
For me, it's a matter of like, we're going to make 1 change per week.
Yeah.
Or 2 changes per week. And then break it down that way. And then all I have to worry about is that week.
Yeah.
And then when the next week comes, I worry about that week.
Yeah. It's one of the skills we went over with Lippy because she went through a whole deck of cards. I got tons. I will be spouting off skills.
Get it.
Oh, I will. One of them is to make a list of all the things and choose the easiest one to do. Not the hardest, not the most accomplished one to get you going.
Yeah. One
in your day, you did it.
Right.
You've done the one thing. Now you can move on to another easy thing or you're done for the day.
Right.
There's no, you did the thing.
Yes. Well, because that accomplishment can give you that drive to continue. Give your brain the chemical reward that it seeks.
Yeah, because I'm sure
that you can continue.
When people start out, they're like, "Oh my God, surgery! Like that's a big, scary prospect."
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's scary because I don't like how much time it's gonna take.
Yeah.
I hate waiting.
Yeah.
And I have bipolar 1, so I really hate waiting. You have no idea.
Every moment is forever.
And I'm with her every Saturday. Imagine.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. But it's like such a pain to like want or need this thing and then to have to wait for it. So like if I break it down in my head where it's like all I need to do is make the phone call, then that's fine. Yeah. There's no hopes on the line. There's no like letting myself down or like anticipation fatigue.
It's more, everything's just more manageable.
Yeah.
If you can break it into those pieces.
Yeah.
So even I'm trying to think with experimentation, track it 1 week at a time.
Oh, absolutely.
Just think about that 1 week. We're going to do this for a week and see what happens. We're going to track it.
Right. It doesn't have to be like when I was saying earlier, when I was doing it 3 times a day. Oh, not necessary. Obviously, more data points were helpful, but if you in a week you can notice a difference.
Yes.
Or if you feel the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's really what you need.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the week, you're like, change, no change, negative change.
Right.
Right? That's all you need. Because when you're talking to your doctor, they're not going to care about your like 3 times per day measurements. They're not going to go through all of that. They're going to be like, okay, so how are you doing this week?
Right.
And you're going to go, it seems better this week. I'm less nauseous.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that's a really great way to handle it, I think. One week at a time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying things. Because it could fail instantly.
Yes.
Or it could take a while. Like if there's no change, give it another week maybe.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is like for me, coming from the like SPED lens where everything is data driven or should be data driven, 6 weeks is the minimum time that we put an intervention into place.
Right.
Unless it fails miserably. If it fails miserably, we're not going to be like, let's continue this for 4 more weeks.
Right.
We're going to be like, okay, back to the drawing board. We got to revamp that goal.
Yeah.
But if it's like, okay, we're seeing no change yet, but we're not tanking. Let's go another week, collect the data then. Are we seeing change? Next week, are we seeing change?
Yeah.
So 6 weeks is really what it takes for most medications before you can know for sure whether it's working or whether it's not working.
Right.
Some of them are up to 3 months.
There are, yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Well, and Kaylee had that problem with one of the antidepressants, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a pain too, because when you like lose insurance or whatever, and then you don't have your meds, and so you're off of them for a month, and then you have to restart everything.
Well, and it feels overwhelming, and that's what happened to me in June.
Yeah.
When my world fell apart, and so I stopped everything in June.
Yeah.
I had open referrals that timed out. I had things that I had to like go back to the drawing board entirely because that doctor wasn't seeing me anymore, or whatever it was. Be like, okay, well, I need to see a new doctor on a new date, and that's going to be 3 or 4 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to do these tests because I didn't get those done because I didn't do anything. And starting back up took so long. I didn't do it until like October.
Yeah.
Because I was just overwhelmed by the prospect. It was a lot. But I think the other piece is like communicate closely with the people who are close to you.
Mm-hmm.
And let them know, like, if you're comfortable doing it and saying like, hey, I'm trying something new. Can you watch for these possible like side effects?
Yeah.
Because I might not notice.
That's my Jen.
Yes.
All the time. And she'll tell me too, like she'll be like, this is my least favorite scenario, but it happens a lot where it'll be like 3 days after I've run out of med and I didn't know.
Oh no.
And I'll be like, I'm feeling really like off. Like
lately
I've had really weird. And she's like, yeah, you haven't had your med for 3 days. It's like,
no.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
But they do notice. They're going to even like, especially with like antidepressants, it's hard to notice the change.
Yeah.
You know, but everyone around you, at least as long as they care and they, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I had one way back when where I wasn't really noticing, but whatever I was on, I can't remember what it was. Everything that would have made me like upset or anxious or more depressed.
Yeah.
It just made me angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a monster. And it took my now husband being like, whatever you're taking is just making you angry.
Yeah.
Like, you need to rethink that because holy cow, you're hard to be around.
Good on him for having the courage to do so.
Yes. Especially when I was a monster at the time.
Exactly.
So now when I start something new and I know that there's possible like side effects or things that could impact him or things that I might not see.
Yeah. Even if they're not tracking it, letting them know that something could be changing and happening.
Yeah. And just being like, hey, if this starts happening, please let me know so that I can let my doctor know because I might not notice. Antidepressants are tricky. It's hard. And it's hard when you're like, I don't feel a change and it's week 4. And it's hard and they're like 2 more weeks and you're like, great, 2 more weeks of sadness. Thank you.
I'm still depressed. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, right.
So it goes back to being patient. Like you have to stick it out.
Yeah.
Or should.
And I think understanding the procedural nature of what you're doing helps. Because if you're like, oh, well, they don't care and they're just going to let me suffer, that's not going to drive you good places.
No.
Mentally. So understanding that, like, no, this is a procedure because it takes a while for your body to fully understand what it is that you're putting into it and then build a supply of whatever it is and then have that constant dose that your body has like a baseline of. And then sometimes they're like, okay, let's try upping it by like 5 milligrams and see what happens. And then sometimes, like, if that happens, you might go into it feeling pretty hopeless.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, a lot of us decide like, no, it's the drug. Clearly that doesn't work.
Yeah. No,
and so it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
I might be wrong on this, but I feel like most people with like a chronic condition have more patience for some things.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of them. Like we're more likely to stick it out.
Well, because we're used to being in whatever state of being.
But then at the same time, we're also used to being in that state of being. So maybe maybe we're impatient in that regard too.
Yeah.
Either way.
Well, yeah.
You could swing either
if
tendency.
we feel like, well, that's the importance of like, let's get it taken care of on the earlier side
Mm-hmm.
so that it doesn't come to a point where you're like, I am not okay anymore.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's do 4 weeks of whatever. And you're like, I'm not okay now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's try to do something about it before you hit the I'm not okay point.
I cut my finger somehow.
Oh, no. Was it with your own? Oh. I was like, was it your own fingernail? Because I do that.
No, I don't know what it was. I slammed it, I think, in the door, but I don't really. Wasn't paying attention.
Ouch.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oops. Do you want a tissue?
No, I'll be fine. It's just bleeding profusely.
It's just blood.
I'm
it's
just
not.
slowly bleeding out. You like the sinking for effect? Like I'm draining.
Made me think of oh no, what's the robot in Hitchhikers?
Marvin.
Marvin.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah. Okay. So the how-to part.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of tricky because it's going to come down to personal preference and what you can fit into your life.
Yeah.
What you're comfortable with. Like someone like Ruth, diligent.
Yes.
Thorough.
Very thorough.
Like the
Scientific
notes that she
method
takes. Oh,
to the max.
it's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
Whereas my ADHD does not permit me to do such things.
Right.
At all.
Which is like the weekly system works too.
Yeah.
It's just even if it's just for your own benefit, maybe you can chart like daily if you need to see change or that you need daily reminders or you know, like you could work it into a schedule.
Physical things is what I've learned. Like technology does not matter to me at all.
This is huge because I've tried so many apps.
Yeah. It doesn't register in my brain as a thing.
Yeah.
After a while. It's like, nope. It's in the phone. It's not real.
Yeah, no, give me a notebook though.
Yes.
And I'll absolutely. Yeah. Even if it has no lines. I hate writing because it gets all wonky and I'll still use it more than I would an app.
Yeah.
Even if like the app is super in depth and tracked everything and told my mom that I love her more. I don't know. I do love you. Just you know, you're busy. It's your fault. I'm not a bad son. Shut up. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you.
I also love you, if that makes a difference.
Yeah. She's always stealing the credit.
I'm sorry.
I'm not bitter. It's fine. This has nothing to do with the pine cone on a stick. I swear.
You know what? At least you have a mom.
I have several.
That's true.
So do you.
I do.
What are you talking about, Willis?
But yeah, so the scientific method can work if you can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just like a quick reflection.
Yeah.
Where you're like, today sucked and I felt this way.
For me, I liked noting it as it happened.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to recall certain sensations and things.
Yes.
But I wasn't like being really like hyper attentive to it either. It was like, ooh. And if I caught myself making a noise or something, like reacting, I'd be like, okay, write that down.
Smart.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. For me, that's more accessible because even in writing it down, it's like it makes more of an imprint memory wise.
Well, and it kind of and that's why like communicating back and forth between the two of us helps so much in recalling information. Yeah. Because I'm like, I have to say this to somebody in order to like log that in my brain. Right. Because like you said, like you get to the end of the week and you're like, today it was totally wonderful and fine because I feel totally wonderful and fine today. Right. And I've forgotten all of the horror that I went through on Wednesday.
It has happened. I had to remind her on several occasions about the horrible things that happened through her week. Yes.
Because they happen and then I'm like, then they're over and it's fine.
Well, exactly. We'll get to the weekly check-in and then I'm like, oh, by the way.
All that horror.
Remember how you were traumatized?
Fell down the stairs? Oh, yeah, I did fall on the ice on Friday.
Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about this. We did yesterday.
Oops.
She fell on the ice, and I was going to give her shit because that would be 2 falls before my next one, but I fell down the stairs in between. So
He also passed out on the stairs the other day.
On the way up the stairs.
Yeah.
I had to crawl at the very top. I was like, oh, no, losing consciousness. Yeah. And I made it to the top.
POTS was really bad. Barometrics were really bad.
I have an auto chair. I hate it, but I love it, but I hate it.
It mocks me. Yeah. That's how he feels about that. I hope it doesn't haunt your dreams. That would be so bad.
Chris, come sit on me, Chris. Let's go on that adventure at
Push the
1 mile per
button.
hour. Slow down. I hate that thing so much, but I love it. You know, when I need it,
That
it's the
was
best
amazing.
thing ever. But when I don't need it, it's in the way and slow as hell.
Yes.
Stupid
It
chair.
is very slow.
Mobility aids.
It also likes
Wow.
to snag me on the way up. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm already fainting. Please stop.
Yeah, no, it's taken me out a few times.
Yeah.
Probably out of spite.
I've also rammed my toe and or knee into it a few times.
Yeah, you got to give it what for.
Just kick
I
it. And you're like,
appreciate it.
oh, God.
Let it put it into place.
But anyway, so find a system that works for you,
Yeah.
depending on what symptom you're tracking, or what triggers you're tracking. Because that's the other one is like, especially for things like MCAS, where you're like, what was that random reaction?
Yeah.
What happened? What have I been doing differently? And like going back and thinking like, what have I been exposed to that I haven't normally been exposed to?
Like reflect on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally the scientific method.
Mm-hmm.
It just, you can do it in varying degrees.
Yeah.
Mainly, you
Mhm.
know.
Oh, I figured out why we are exercise intolerant. Do you know, like getting your heart rate up and that exercise zone releases histamine anyway in normal people?
I had no idea.
And then your body can't get rid of histamine.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So it literally triggers MCAS.
Yes.
Now you know.
Because I've been allergic to exercise for quite some time.
I mean, even the first week we did it, I started swelling after we worked out. I
Mhm.
was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But dang, that makes so much sense.
See, this is what I learned in my like random searching is.
Yeah. Well, and as far as like the how-to, that's another thing is trying
Yeah.
all the different combinations of things.
Right.
And
Like,
then
I'm trying to
being
think.
okay to walk away and come back to it. Like
Yeah.
don't feel like you failed or that you'll never
Mhm.
find it.
And don't hang your hopes on one thing.
Yeah, because it can change and it will change. I
Yes.
mean, we went from like
There's several different
sports injury to genetic disorder to different genetic disorder to subclasses of that genetic disorder to actually no, it's this other thing that's caused by that.
Yes.
You know, if you're far along in your journey, you know, and if you're new to it, don't be intimidated.
Stop. No one's
She
talking
has
to you.
demonetized us
Oh,
all.
God.
Nobody here can make money. And I apologize. So sorry.
I'm trying to see if I have one of my searches up here.
Oh, that would be a really good example.
Right.
Because
see.
it's like finding the right keyword sometimes. Like when you got to what was it? The hernia attack, adding
Mhm.
attack to it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know that was a thing, a hiatal hernia attack.
Mhm.
Who would just assume
Yeah.
that it's episodic?
So one of them was postural hiatal hernia
Okay.
because I was curious as to whether or not some of the positions
Yeah.
we find ourselves in simply because we have Ehlers-Danlos, and because some things are comfier and you wind up like, let me touch my ribs to my hip bone. It's
I had my shoulder
fine.
blades touching when I woke up this morning.
Right. Oh, I love that one where you're like, and then you twist your arms like a pretzel and
Yeah,
tuck them
tuck 'em.
between your
Yep.
knees. Yeah. Sorry. And this came up with like your posture is not erect. It will compress your organs and limit
Yeah.
your breathing. If sitting or standing in a slumped position, it may even contribute to a hiatal hernia. Because the stomach pushes up under the diaphragm and into the esophagus, causing you to burp things up. But these are things like I had to leave and come back to.
Causes the stomach to go up?
Yeah, so a hiatal hernia.
Oh, I
is-
absolutely have one of those then.
Yeah.
There's no way I don't because I can feel my stomach in my throat.
Yes. So your hiatal hernia is literally you have a hole, which is the hiatus,
Yeah.
inside of your diaphragm, in
Mhm.
the middle of your diaphragm, that your esophagus drops down into and connects with your stomach. And your stomach is supposed to stay on the lower end
Yeah,
and
yeah.
out of your chest cavity. In a hiatal hernia, it gets sucked up in
Yeah.
there, and then you wind up with like a bubble of stomach and esophagus.
That would explain why food's always sitting here in my throat. Like why it
Yes.
always
Yeah.
sits here.
Right. Well, and I think that's part of what triggered my like vomiting episode because it was gnarly. It was so bad and so
Yeah.
painful, and I haven't had like cramping in my chest and stomach like that before. Not for a long time anyway.
Or that day I choked on casserole,
Right.
soft, mushy food that got stuck in my throat.
Yeah.
That was bizarre.
Yeah. But yeah, so it literally just pushes up
Yeah.
into the hiatus. And literally your stomach, part of your stomach, is now in your chest cavity.
Right. But as far as the search goes, you were able to go from that to hiatal hernia.
Mm-hmm.
So then you searched hiatal hernia, and then
So it started with like hiatal hernia in combination, because I'm not kidding, I had like 4 open tabs
yeah.
searching through all of this and trying to figure out what was what. Let's see if there's one before. Okay, so like hiatal hernia syndrome, which is not really a thing, but this is how I made it to hiatal hernia attack, because you follow the clues.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
You're looking through things and like, okay, this doesn't apply, we're going this way.
Yeah.
This applies, we're going to continue down this road. I don't know what that word means, so we're going to put it in a separate search to try to fully understand what I'm looking at.
Right.
And so you have several open tabs trying to figure out what is what. And this is how I've come to several different conclusions that have helped to better my health as a whole.
Something to note is that when you're doing that, you got to make sure that you haven't picked something and then you're aiming towards it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you're following like the logical progression of it.
Yes.
Or at least trying. Because like
Right.
you're not tailoring your symptoms so that you can get the certain thing.
Right.
Like that's not the goal here. The goal here is to find the actual problem, right?
Yes. Well, and that's the thing as far as like following the clues goes, because if you follow the clues correctly, you will come upon something that explains things that you weren't even searching for.
Right. Exactly.
And that's where you're like, oh, I think I know what this is. This meets all of these criteria and blah, 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 right? But it's about following the clues. And sometimes you come to dead ends, and sometimes you come to like conclusions that are not going to be correct. And so you have to kind of restart that clue finding adventure to try to find it the right way. Like you retrace your steps to see where you went wrong.
Yeah.
It's a process.
And like we said before, you might come up on a dead end that turns into a not dead end way later.
Yeah.
Just,
way later.
Try and take notes.
Yeah.
Or however you need to bookmark things. Let's make a health like bookmark.
Or if
chain.
you're me, you leave open 700 billion tabs.
Please don't do that. Your computer has limited resources. If you have
but your phone has
many
none.
tabs open as she uses, you will die. This isn't hyperbole. You will die. It will explode and take out you and the nearest person to you. This is very serious. Thousands of tabs. This monster to my right. Like, I can't. I'm.
Okay.
No,
Great.
Jen does it worse than you do. You're fine.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm a monster. Leave me alone. I'm actually a dragon.
Oh.
Dragon.
Anything else that we should cover?
I don't think
Or that you can think of?
I think we've gone through most of it. And
I'm
again,
sure we'll forget things,
like,
but
hop in the Discord and talk to other people, because they're
Yeah.
going to have a lot of resources that we might not.
yeah. Or come to the lives and ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Nora did. And
Right.
it was great to answer things that she didn't understand or was more curious about.
Because we were talking about like trigger points and myofascial release.
Yeah.
And the difference between that and like regular massage, and how fascia can cause all kinds of problems.
Yeah. No, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I like that. That was nice. Because we often will drop things that other people would have learned earlier, but newer people wouldn't know. And it's easier for us just to answer it on lives.
Right.
Because we don't care. It's not a big deal. You're not going to bother us.
Yeah, for sure. Like, come to the lives. Come participate.
Or message us on Facebook.
That too.
That too works.
Leave comments.
Shill.
We didn't shill a whole lot this episode, so we will now. So if you have enjoyed this, or you know someone who might enjoy this or find it useful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, or encourage others to do the same. We're here. We are trying to grow, but we need some help to do so.
We do. And you know,
Word of mouth is important.
Word of mouth. That's mainly how we go. I think most of it's been passed around over time. We randomly find people who need us. Yeah. Like it hits them at the right time. They'll be like, that episode was exactly what I went through this week. And we're like, yeah, exactly. So
it's cool how it's like reflections of everything all the way around. So very interesting.
Absolutely.
But yes, come join us on our silly journey through the experiences of being chronically ill. It's a fun time for everyone.
And visit our Teespring. We still have merch on there that you can get. Yes. And I need to upload a version for Ruth with the Fantasticpains and how we hide them part.
Oh, good. Are we going to do it there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I have some ideas on how to do it.
Good.
I have to run them by Ruth because it's going to be designed for her specifically, pretty much. So.
Indeed. So maybe we'll call it the Ruth special.
Collaboration.
Yes. There you go. Awesome. Okay, then are we closing out then?
Yes,
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you all. Thank you for watching our video and or listening to our audio. If you like it, check out some of the other ones. There's lots and lots and lots to go through.
Yeah, peruse. There's a subject in there that you might be interested in eventually. Yes.
Well, and we found that whatever condition you have, or maybe you're not sure what it is, a lot of what we talk about is relatable throughout. So lots of stuff there. Yeah.
If you're bipolar, join in because I need more bipolar bros. I have 6 now. I need more. There are more of us. I know we're hot and cold and just all over the place, but you know. We can do it at each other.
And we still love you.
It's
3 o'clock.
That's it. We're going.
It's med time, so we're gonna close out and say goodbye. Again, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. Leave us a comment. We love you. And join us in the next one.
Bye.
I didn't say the thing. I should say the thing.
Y'all say the thing.
He's gonna implode.
Here comes.
I'm so sorry. Be kind to you. Be kind to others. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
She did it. She didn't let me down.
I did it.
She saved the day.
I came through in the clutch.
Yeah, you made it clutch though. So really, who's to blame here?
ADHD.
You fixing it or you ruining it?
It's the Dave.
Damn it, Dave.
I got the Dave.
He's got the Dave.
Oh God.